Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Olivia Gunnery and I'll be the clerk for this subcommittee meeting, and I'm pleased to welcome you to this meeting. I'll take the subcommittee through the first three agenda items. This meeting is being broadcast live and recorded for playback on the Council's YouTube channel, so if anyone else intends on recording the public proceedings, please make this known now. This is not to stop you, but to make sure that all parties are aware. So I'm going to assume not. Item 1 is apologies for absence. We do not have any apologies this morning. So item 2 is notification of substitute members. There are none. So item 3, election of chairman. Can I please have a nomination?
I'll nominate Councillor English.
And is that seconded?
That's seconded.
Thank you, Councillor English. You are now the chairman of this meeting.
Thank you, members. Are there any disclosures by members and officers? No, we get to that in a minute. Right, moving on. Item 5, disclosures of lobbying. I think we've all been lobbied by Councillor Wilkinson. Additionally, I have been verbally lobbied by Councillor Maureen Cleater. Any other declaration? No, that's it then. Item 6, to consider whether any items should be taken in private. I intend to take item 7, the application for a premises licence under the Licensing Act 2003 for KFC Maidstone 4 to 5 Sutton Road, Maidstone, Kent, ME15 9AN in public. Is that agreed? Thank you, members. So moving on to aforesaid item 7. This is an application for a premises licence under the Licensing Act 2003 for the previously noted premises. Please note there was an urgent update to this item circulated on Tuesday to include additional materials supplied by the applicant's agent. And there has also been another additional update in terms of suggested conditions that you should have just had. I will now ask that all persons participating in this morning's hearing identify themselves, starting with the members of the subcommittee. I am Councillor Clive English and I will be chairing the subcommittee hearing this morning. To my left.
Hi there, I'm Councillor Millam for Fanton Oakwood Ward.
And I'm Councillor Val Springett for Bearsted and Downswood Ward.
Helen Ward, Legal Advisor.
Gail Edwards, Observer from Mid-Kent Legal Services.
Olivia Gunnery, Democratic Services Officer.
Lorraine Neal, Senior Licensing Officer.
Kieran Darley, Resident and Objector.
Chris Rees-Gay, solicitor for the applicant today.
Grant Roderickson, General Manager of the Adele Group.
Sean Lewis, and I'm the Regional Manager for the store in question.
Thank you. Can I ask that all parties confirm that they've received a copy and are aware of the subcommittee hearing procedures? Everyone's nodding. I'll give that a moment. There's some conversation going on. Thank you very much. The subcommittee will allow all parties to put their case fully and make submissions to the panel within a reasonable time frame. The procedure would take the form of a discussion led by the subcommittee. Any persons in attendance behaving in a disruptive manner may be directed to leave the meeting, including temporarily, after which such person may submit to the subcommittee in writing any information which that person would have been entitled to give orally had the person not been required to leave the meeting. If this is not possible, they may be allowed to speak at the chairman's invitation. I will now ask that all subcommittee members confirm that they have pre-read all the papers and other documentation regarding the hearing.
I have.
And I confirm I have too. So, turn now to Lorraine Neal, the Senior Licensing Officer, who will now briefly outline the application. Lorraine.
Thank you, members. Members are being asked to consider and determine this application for a new premise licence for Kentucky Fried Chicken, 4 to 5 Sutton Road, Maidstone, ME159AN. The application has been submitted by Supercharger Central Limited and is attached as Appendix 1. The application asks for late night refreshment Monday to Sunday, 11 p.m. to midnight. The hours can be seen in the table at page 1 of the report. The application was correctly advertised. There were no reps from responsible authorities and one objection from other parties, which is attached as Appendix 3, and also in the table at page 3. There was a meeting took place between the applicant and the objector, and following that meeting, additional materials were circulated, which I believe have already been mentioned. So after considering the application, legislation, guidance and Maidstone Statement of Licensing Policy, members are asked to make a decision, and their options are: grant the licence subject to conditions as are consistent with the operating schedule accompanying the application, grant the licence with modified conditions, exclude a licensable activity, refuse to specify the DBS, or reject the whole or part of the application. Thank you, members.
Thank you very much, Ms Neal. Do any of the panel members wish to ask any questions at this stage? I think it's a fairly straightforward application. So one or two members of the council got hold of the wrong end of the stick slightly and thought this was a more extensive application, but I think it is just for the extension to the times. Turning now to the representatives of the applicant to make their own case. So I'm not sure which order you want to go in, gentlemen, but over to you.
Thank you, Chair. It'll just be me speaking and the other two on hand should you have any questions, please. So in my presentation, I'll cover the following areas: a brief background of the operator, the application itself, the representation, and then a very brief summary. So we seek today the granting of the premises licence that has been applied for with the proposed additional conditions, having met with Kira. So by way of background then, the applicant today is Supercharger Central Limited, which forms part of the Adil Group. The Adil Group has been established since 1969 and has over 55 years of experience running quick service restaurants in England and Scotland. Its brands include KFC, obviously, Burger King, Taco Bell and Costa. It's one of the UK's fastest growing family-run businesses. That means they're not a small independent business, but have the necessary management and resources to support this application. The Adil Group across the estate have not had a single premises licence reviewed or revoked in their entire time. In terms of KFCs, they operate 111 of these across the estate. As an operator of this size, they're used to operating in challenging areas such as Leicester Square, Earls Court, Glasgow City Centre, and therefore we say with this application there should be no issues. Grant Roderickson is the General Manager for Adil Group. He's vastly experienced with 35 years in the quick service restaurant business. Underneath him is Sean Lewis. He's the Regional Manager for the premises, again very experienced, having 30 years in the hospitality industry. As has been mentioned and as is stated in the correspondence, Sean met with Kira, who submitted the representation. Sean at the time offered his personal direct phone numbers, but at that time it was to just be through the council. But now this morning, Sean has given his work mobile and email address directly to Kira. In terms of community, the Adil Group pride themselves on being good members of the local community. Currently they support the Ad Hope KFC charity, which feeds children and families. In terms of training, as you'd expect, written training policies and formal training programs are in place in all stores that have late night refreshment licenses, which ensure that staff are equipped to meet and promote all of the licensing objectives. Every member of staff carries out training when they're inducted. Refresher training is then undertaken at regular intervals. Training is undertaken by way of formal training package, which includes both one-to-one training and indeed computer-based system. In terms of the application then, it is straightforward as has been outlined. We're applying for an additional hour through the week. Customers requested the premises stay open later, and it was felt by staff in store that there was a requirement for this extra hour, hence this application being made. The premises has currently operated the hours until 11 o'clock without incident. Liaison with those that submitted the representations of the Kira, as can be seen in our extra supporting documents. and as a professional operator, we reached out through the council to liaise with Kira. Sean met in person with her on Friday, the 12th of September, and from this meeting, further proposed conditions have been offered, and I'll touch on conditions shortly. So if I could just turn you up to the main conditions offered so that you've seen them. So that's pages 4 or 5 is a neat summary of that in your agenda pack. But as you would expect, in summary, there's a comprehensive CCTV condition, an instant book condition, and importantly in terms of public nuisance, a non-audible condition in relation to the fabric of the building. Also in relation to deliveries of food to the premises, this will not take place between 2300 hours and 0700. And similarly, in terms of waste, it will not be collected between 2300 and 0700 in order to protect the residents from noise. In addition, and after that meeting, further conditions have been offered. And again, if I could turn you to those are in your additional pack, please. And there are 4 of them. So notices shall be prominently displayed at the exits, requesting the public to respect the needs of local residents and to leave the premises in the area quietly. All windows and external doors should be kept closed after 2300 hours, except for immediate access or egress of persons. A direct telephone number for the manager at the premises shall be publicly available at all times the premises is open. This will be prominently displayed in the front window of the premises. And staff will not loiter outside the premises after the premises has closed. As stated, there was one representation to this application that can be found at page 22 of your papers. And just to run through it, in terms of noise, there was an issue with lorry deliveries, but that was from Papa John's. Obviously, we've given our condition that there will be no deliveries to the premises 23 to 0700. Bus stops are mentioned to confirm no alcohol is sold. This is a Kentucky Fried Chicken. Belligerent drunks, again, we don't think is linked to this premises and say it will not be linked to this premises as we do not sell alcohol. So noise is the main concern, and extra conditions have been offered in relation to this, although that we do not believe from the current history of the premises there will be issues with noise. As has been stated, and as set out in Section 182 Guidance, paragraph 9.12, each responsible authority will be the expert in their representative field, the police for crime and disorder, environmental health for nuisance. As you're aware, neither responsible authorities have submitted a representation, in particular environmental health, with the noise concerns that have been raised. A sign we say that they're content that Supercharger will promote the licensing objectives. The committee will also be aware of the extensive powers, including that of review, that are available to local residents and responsible authorities. Again, we say there will be no issues, but it's just a reminder that there is that authority should you need it. By way of a brief summary then, Chair, this is an already well-run operating KFC seeking just 1 extra hour. There is to be no sale of alcohol. The application is made by an experienced operator with a very experienced management team behind the premises. The Adil Group has never had a premises license reviewed or revoked. The operator has reached out to Kira and has given direct contact details to her of Sean, the regional manager. There are comprehensive conditions on the licence that deal with the particular concerns that have been raised, but most importantly, we said there are no representations from your key responsible authorities. Indeed, specifically, nothing from environmental health in relation to public nuisance. Chair, those are my submissions. We would request that the application be granted as applied for, but with the extra tailored conditions. Grant and Sean are on hand should you have any questions. Thank you.
Would either of your colleagues like to add anything? I think it was fairly comprehensive, but I've got to give you the opportunity. Would the panel members like to ask anything at this stage?
In one of your additional proposed conditions, it says a direct telephone number for the manager shall be publicly available at all times the premises is open. If the committee did consider it was appropriate, could that be extended to half an hour after closing time? Because I'm just considering that possibly one of the concerns might be that people are loitering outside. So if that phone number wasn't answered, if it just, we may not decide to do that, but if we did, would that be something you would be open to? Just should that occur? To add it to half an hour after. Okay,
Yes.
fine.
We've given your number, is that right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
my
he's
number's
not-
been
he
given
won't be
to
there.
Kieran over there, so she has.
So,
So I've given over my work phone number and my work email address, so should you want to make any issues in writing, it's absolutely fine to do so, but what we will display is the number for the store, where there will always be a manager or senior team leader on site who's perfectly qualified to run the store in the absence of the manager. Generally, past the closing time, we allow our teams anywhere between half an hour to 45 minutes to close down the store in line with the food safety standards in place. So there should be someone on site for half an hour after the closing time. It shouldn't be an issue.
Any additional comments?
I've got one other.
Yeah.
What would be your thoughts if you did have a group of youths outside making a lot of noise? Have you had a thought about it? I'm not saying it has or hasn't occurred up to date, but should it, what would be your method of dispersing them? Go out and just, come on, move along, lads, you're making a lot of noise. Sort of, have you got thoughts on how you would deal with a group of noisy youths outside?
So, as part of our extensive training for our management team in KFC, including not just the general manager but shift leaders as well, who are there they're part of their training is to take on a full conflict management training scheme. So they are fully trained in ways to deal with. Obviously, I appreciate every situation might be slightly different, but they are all given the basic techniques and ways to deal with these certain situations. And then I'm sure that there would be some form of maybe neighbourhood policing from a local police force, which we could, if you wanted to, possibly reach out to, maybe have a tighter relationship with them should the issues arrive. But generally, we tend to not have any problems in our Sutton Road store. It's mostly houses, etc., around there. So it's not a situation we've come across before.
I'm sure it would have come up in Glasgow city centre at some point, all right? So, not to cast aspersions on Glasgow, but any comments? I just want to check. There are no, obviously it's not a license, you haven't got a license at the moment, so conditions for deliveries and so on, so that's just open at the moment, isn't it? And you wouldn't have had any, I know it's a planning, but you wouldn't have had any conditions on deliveries imposed by another authority elsewhere?
No, we haven't had that, Chair, no.
Okay, just checking.
Thank you, Chair. Just a question, please. How would you anticipate the change in trade between, currently you say you close at 11, do you anticipate that post 11 p.m. it's going to be mostly people coming to the premises or delivery? From your experience of other sites, how would you anticipate that going?
So generally at the moment the store has a sort of 45-55 split between people coming to the store and deliveries as well. I don't, given the fact that we're trading to 11 o'clock and that percentage shift generally hasn't changed, I don't foresee there being a massive swing either way, in which, so we would still obviously have people coming to the store. Like I said, it's quite a residential area, there's a lot of houses around, but obviously some of those people might order delivery as well. So while we're going for that extra hour, I don't see a massive change between the percentage and what the shop sells. I don't foresee it anyway.
Just one on that. So we're probably looking about 15 to 20 transactions in that hour, so it's not a lot of customers.
I have to admit, I haven't been to your store for a few years, but I have been in the past. You have a seating area, an eating area inside. Do you still have that? What are you going to keep that open for the last hour? Because theoretically, somebody could come through the door at 10 to midnight, buy a whacking great meal and sit down and still be chomping away at past. So do you have a policy, or could you introduce a policy that there's no indoor sitting down eating after 11:30? Because otherwise you are sort of, you could theoretically have a group of 10 come through the door at 10 to midnight and order a mountain of food and still be going. So do you have a policy, and if not, do you think you might need one? Just a thought.
I will ask the management team to speak, but my view on that would be that there is obviously the closing hours in there, so they couldn't obviously be in there after those closing hours. So it would have to be for management to manage that, and they would either have to say, I won't put words in their mouths. Obviously, 10 of you can't come in and eat your meals at 10 to 12 because we shut at 12, and that's clear on the door. But I don't. Is there a specific policy?
We don't have a specific policy in place, obviously, because at the moment we're only trading till 11 o'clock, but that's definitely something that we could look into. I mean, obviously, our idea is we don't want anyone in past our closing time anyway. We don't allow any admittance past the 11 o'clock mark. So I think generally as a common courtesy, we might give someone 5–10 minutes to finish eating, but we generally don't have people in there till, at the moment, we're not seeing people in there till 11:30. So I'm, you know, going by prerequisite of experience, I'd probably say the same for the 12 o'clock.
Thank you.
Nothing further from me, the objector mays.
Yeah, I'm just checking. Don't want to miss anyone. Right, thank you very much. So I now turn to the objector. If you'd like to make any initial comments at this point.
I've thrashed it all out with Sean.
Sorry. First, do you want to ask any questions to the applicant?
Oh no, I've done it all already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assumed you had, but I just needed to check. And back to your comments then.
So just general.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I've thrashed it all out with Sean. Well, I'm really happy because the noise was the only thing I was really worried about. The rest of it, you know, it's just we just suck it and see. But what I'm here for today is, what if it all goes wrong and it's like the purge every weekend and we can't thrash it out between us? Is there like a review process or something? And if there is a review process, can my neighbours who haven't objected because they didn't get around to it, would they be able to say anything, or would it? Have we got anything above supercharger? I'm sure we'll sort it out between us, but just in case, I just want to know what the procedure is. That's the only reason I'm here. I'm happy to withdraw my objection apart from that. And the other thing is, I'm happy not to I won't put a phone number up on the thing because I've got your phone number and I will give my neighbours. I know all my neighbours, so I'll just give them, they can come and ask me and I'll just tell them. So I wouldn't put anything up on the thing, otherwise you're going to get people ringing up at 3 o'clock in the morning and things. So yeah.
Ask the legal advisor to explain what happens should, heaven forfend, it all go pear-shaped.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, there is a review procedure where a licensed premises, there's evidence that shows it's undermining a licensing objective. So, for example, public nuisance, then any person can bring a review of that premises license, and the process is that the review is submitted to the licensing team, there's a consultation process, and then a hearing just like there is today, and then the licensing subcommittee can determine whether any steps are appropriate to be taken, which can include revocation of the licence. Separate to that, there's also environmental protection legislation, so if you have complaints about noise and you speak to the local noise team, then they're able to give you advice on what steps or what measures might be available to deal with that noise.
So what kicks it off? Is it somebody objecting, or is it like a regular 6-month thing, or what would trigger it?
It would be somebody having evidence that the licensing objectives are being undermined. And Chair, if you're happy, I'm happy to answer questions after the hearing regarding the process.
I think, quite happy to have the officer explain to you in more detail how that happens, should it be necessary. The threshold for a complaint to environmental health, which would still cover these premises, getting a licence doesn't make someone immune from environmental health legislation, is somewhat, usually a lot quicker and has a different threshold. So, but again, it's evidence-based and led. But so we can explain that to you should it be necessary.
Okay.
And should issues come up. Councillor Springett.
So if you were to contact your borough councillor, if you start getting issues, contact your borough councillor. I'm not sure who that is for that area. Not you, Clive, I don't think. But contact your borough councillor and explain what's going on, and they will help you with the process.
Okay, in that case, I'm happy with the conditions, and we don't need the phone thing, because I think us, we can sort it out between us. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. So I'm happy to withdraw my objection, as long as the conditions are all right.
Thank you very much indeed. That makes life a lot simpler. Right, does anyone, we probably still need to go through the formalities. Would you like to make any closing remarks?
Chair, I will, if that's all right, just to recap. So this is already a well-run operating KFC seeking 1 additional hour. The application is made by an experienced operator with a very experienced management team behind the premises. They've never had a review of any premises license across the estate. Being the premium operator they are, they did reach out to Kira and they have made and given direct contact details to her. Should there be any concerns, we say there will be none. There are now comprehensive conditions on the licence that will deal with the particular concerns that have been raised. Most importantly for us, there has been no representation from environmental health in relation to noise, and indeed has been discussed at length. There are the powers of review should it be needed. Again, we say that it won't be needed. We therefore request please that the application be granted as applied for with the further conditions offered. Thank you, Chair.
I know you've had noise issues in the past with some of the other shops. Have you raised those with, you can still raise those with, if they carry on with your borough council or with environmental health?
Not every bank holiday, but some bank holidays, the bookies have workmen in at 3 o'clock in the morning drilling and everything else. But I've gone down before to see them and say, look, can we, and they've done their best and tried not to drill and stuff.
Okay.
So that's like usually worse than KFC. The reason I kind of said before was we used to have loads of boy races coming when KFC first started. And it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. They'd all be revving and they'd be playing their music really loudly, and you just had to put up with it. But eventually they went, you know what I mean? But so when people are saying, I'm not saying, I know Supercharger will keep a tight ship, but there's not much you can do if everyone turns up and starts having a party outside. But then I thought, well, one of my neighbours used to work at one of these kind of places, and he said it won't be as bad as you think. He reckons it'll be all right. And also Sean was explaining, just because they've got the licence for every day doesn't mean it will be every day. It'll be, you know what I mean? So I think the best thing to do is just suck it and see what happens. And then that's just what I wanted was what happens if it does go wrong. And then once I know, I'm fine. So I'm happy with all the conditions apart from the phone number. You don't need that at all. So I'll just take that out. And yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I think I would say if you do get a recurrence of previous issues with other premises, then
I didn't realise I could go to the council. That's why I'm here today. I didn't realise
so you can come to the council or your borough councillor. So
right,
thank you.
Thanks.
Your officer just has a quick comment.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question for the applicant, please. Ms Darney has explained about the additional conditions that you offered specifically in response to the objection, and the one requiring a direct telephone number to be on display, which the objectors now said they don't particularly want that condition. Do you have any submissions on that point, it being an additional condition that was offered after the consultation period?
Happy either way, whatever the committee feel is relevant. Obviously a wider number could allow others to use it, but indeed for Kira, she's satisfied that she's got a direct line into Sean.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. In that case, are there any further issues we need to raise? In that case,
Sorry, Chair. The objector may wish an opportunity to make closing submissions.
I was just about to say, does anyone, including Ms Darney, this is your last chance to make any further comments? So
no, I'm fine. I do have some neighbours who didn't put objections in. They've got newborn kids and they're a bit iffy, but I think we'll just have to see what happens and then we'll do it. And we can, you know, once I know, now that I know Sean's number and we've had a chat and everything, I'm pretty sure we can sort things out ourselves.
okay, thank you. Direct communication is always one useful thing to have. In that case, as no one else is raising anything, I would declare the hearing closed. The subcommittee members, accompanied by our indefatigable legal advisor, will now enter into the room next door to deliberate. I don't imagine it will take very long, given the withdrawal of the objection and the issues raised, but we might want to discuss the conditions a little. So, say 20 minutes from now. 10 to.
Thank you, Chair. And just for clarity, there were no further objections received to the application, just the one.
Good afternoon again. Thank you for waiting whilst the subcommittee deliberated. As chairman, I would like to announce that the subcommittee has decided to grant the application as applied for, with the conditions offered in the application and the additional conditions, subject to one amendment to those additional conditions, which is condition 3, which will now read: a direct telephone number for the manager at the premises shall be made available on request to local residents. All parties to the hearing will receive the full write-up of the committee's deliberations and decisions in due course, which will also... And thank you very much for your time, participation, and for talking to each other.